Welcome to Brook and Bramble Farm Podcast
with Chris
and Micah,
where we talk about budget homesteading,
homemaking,
and whatever else is on our minds.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the Chris and Micah Show.
No, it's the Brook and Bramble Farm Podcast.
Okay. Welcome. We're going to talk about my favorite thing.
Me.
Flea markets.
Oh, right. Flea markets. Yeah.
We're going to talk about my second favorite thing.
The best is when it's like we're at a flea market together.
Yeah.
If we could find someone to watch our kids while we go to a flea market together, that would be like, because having kids at a flea market is challenging.
I'm yawning. I like to go by myself because not with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like to go entirely alone, but with you.
We are
mainly alone though.
No, when you bring kids, I don't mind bringing kids pretty much anywhere, but it's when you go to the flea market, it's almost impossible to push a stroller into the little booths.
Right, and
without knocking stuff over.
There's that aspect in the fact that you do not get bored in 10 minutes and little kids do.
True, or they're like, I want that.
Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom, I need food, I'm thirsty, and so you just constantly are micromanaging them instead of doing what really matters at a flea market.
Yes, your focus is elsewhere. I like to have good focus.
Right.
When I'm around old things.
Right, and sometimes not so old things. Sometimes people really think they've got something, but it's a VHS tape from 1995.
Yeah, there are those places. The Beanie Babies.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that if you're realistic about what you've got. Some people think they're sitting on a gold mine of Beanie Babies, and the reality is I will not pay more than $1 for one.
What if the tag is still on? What if it's in one of those little plastic tag containers?
If the tag is still on, you're going to buy the Beanie Baby, you're going to give it to your kid, and the first thing they're going to ask you to do is cut the tag off of it. So, realistically, it's not worth more than $1 to me. Anyway, where do you find a flea market?
You Google flea markets near me.
And do you think that is, realistic? Because I know, when I was looking for farm auctions near me, you look it up on Google, and there are, literally none. You have to contact people
It's
who
tricky.
Run it.
We are
sometimes
very blessed to just happen to live near a regular flea market. It has times, it's there every year.
Twice a year.
It's right down the road.
And it's big. It's not like a tiny one.
We are also in New England. And I think we're kind of in an area that's very flea market dense.
There's that, and I think when we say antiques to any listeners who are not from the United States, are going to look at those and be like, those are just made yesterday. We're going to flea markets and we're finding things that are 300 or 400 years old.
And flea markets vary in quality tremendously. They vary in pricing.
Yeah, and I think what we're there for mainly are the antiques. You will find a lot of things that are quote-unquote antiques that have been refinished by someone who has no skills even close to the person who originally made the antique, but they're trying to pass it off as something fantastic and restored or whatever.
And then you have whole booths of just craft vendors.
Right, and you're going to find your stereotypical, craft vendors there that you would find at any normal fair if you're near fair country.
Yeah, they're making jewelry or whatever.
Jewelry or hats. The hat vendors, the cowboy hat vendor.
Or
candy.
Are people still selling those, what is that MLM clothing company? Everybody was really into it for a long time. I'm forgetting the name. I'm blanking on it.
Yeah. You very rarely... You may run into a vendor who does, handmade pottery or, photography or art. Periodically, they're around in flea markets. And those are cool. They're neat people to talk to. The fun one to talk to are, for me at least, are the people at flea markets that are selling plants. They've got rooted cuttings or whatever, and they're selling hazelnut trees for, a fraction of the cost you'd pay at an actual arboretum or a garden center. Mm-hmm. Things like that. So anyway, you can Google, apparently, I don't know. You can Google flea markets for the most part nearby.
Yeah.
And
there have been times when we've just been driving through Vermont or whatever, and we've just stumbled across a flea market.
yeah.
But then there are also like the big ones, and people drive from state.
Like
what am I trying to say?
Brimfield. Brimfield is a big one.
Drive across the state to go there. Yeah, Brimfield. Is that in Massachusetts?
It's in Massachusetts. Yeah, Brimfield is huge to the point where we tried to get a hotel room during Brimfield.
Oh yeah, they jacked up the
It was like
prices.
it was like $200 more for a hotel room during Brimfield just because everything is booked up around there.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a huge flea market,
It's huge.
But yeah, again, you're going to spend a lot of time weeding through a lot of just nonsense to find what you want.
It's fun, but it can be overwhelming because it's so big.
So, we fortunately have one nearby, which is really cool. And we have different vendors every year too, which is nice. You're never going to go to the same flea market.
There's a lot of same people who come.
There are a lot of the same people, but there's a lot of different stuff every time. That's the advantage of a flea market.
Well, yeah, they're hopeful. Like they are all year long getting new stuff to.
Yeah, and a lot of them are actually antique dealers, which is cool.
Yeah, so they'll have new things and they'll add to it, but you do see some of the same stuff, like I bought that little miniature cast iron sink. Like they had that last year, and I was able to talk her price down because.
Well, we'll get into bargaining later, as far as
just mentioning that it had been there before.
Yeah, so we love flea markets because there's nothing we're not the kind of people who will buy fake antiques. We will never go to Pottery Barn, and I'm not saying people who go to Pottery Barn are less.
You're terrible.
I know. Well, we won't say that. We can't say that because honestly, sometimes people don't have access to the antiques that we do or whatever, and they've got to make do with the look that they want, but they can't get it, so they've got to get it.
Reproduction antiques are fine.
They're great. It's just I think that you gain something from a real antique that you won't ever get from a reproduction. There's some cool stuff. The big thing for me with antiques, and going back even to looking at antiquities, like things that are hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years old, the coolest thing, just FYI, you're never going to find something that's, hopefully not going to find something that's 1,000 years old in an American flea market because it's probably been stolen. But in Europe, that's very possible that you'll find things that are thousands of years old, which is cool. But the coolest thing for me about real antiques is looking for the little mistakes that were made in their production, because they tell you that a real human being was involved in making this. It was not made on an assembly line by a series of robots.
Yeah, they're more like one of a kind.
Yeah, they're one of a kind, but there's like someone's soul got poured into making that.
I think it's fine to have things that you make to look old, like our hearth.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Our house is...
Like, it's a prefab fireplace that we made to look old.
Yeah.
So I think if you...
But it comes down to we didn't have access to
here's the thing.
Someone to build one for us.
And I wasn't sure where to bring this up, and it's going to get depressing. There's going to be a day when there are no more antiques.
You say that, but
No, there are no more good antiques.
You say that, but they're always being recycled. The thing is that people buy antiques and then their children turn around and sell them.
Yes, but
and they end up back on the market.
Gonna last forever because they're so old. They're built to last, but there's gonna come a day when they're just all eventually gonna break.
I don't know. My argument to that is they're still finding stuff from thousands of years ago that are made of wood in tombs and they still exist.
All right.
So my argument is like if people in Europe are using wooden objects that were made 300 years ago, there will eventually come a day when the wood breaks down or the device, the object breaks down, but it probably won't be even in our children's lifetime.
Well, I was also thinking last time I was at the flea market, there have been like more and more open booths that people haven't rented. It's been like a little more empty in certain buildings and the barns and stuff.
I think it's because they raised the price.
Well, no. Well, maybe. But I was thinking it's because most of the people who are doing that and who are going to the flea markets and selling are really old.
That's true. There aren't that many young vendors there.
They're all like, okay, so not really old, but they're all like Gen X. Is that it?
Gen
X and boomers.
And older. Yeah, they're people who were born in the 40s and 50s probably. So
and a lot of boomers.
That'd be people born in the 40s and 50s.
And what's the generation above that? They're probably
Gen X would be people in the
already.
60s and 70s.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the greatest generation.
Yeah,
that'd be like World War II vets.
Okay, so they're but
they're
I'm
not young
wondering
kids.
if they're getting too old to be hiking all this stuff around,
right?
To be selling it, and their kids don't want to take it over or whatever.
Which is sad because their kids are probably just locked up on social media somewhere, like we are. It's ridiculous.
You sound like a boomer.
I know. But my point is that, but we know that there's definitely a resurgence in interest in antiques, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that there was a time when you could open an antique store and actually make a living. You
just don't see younger people bringing their antiques and I know they do because I see them online, like some of the accounts that I like, they're like, I'm taking my stuff to the market.
Right.
And they're not old or anything, so I know maybe it's starting to happen more.
It's
that
just,
would be good.
I think in order to be able to do that, you have to have the resources to own at least a storage facility for those particular objects. And so you have to be able to own a house or wherever you're living and then also have this supplemental thing in the background antiques are not something you can have in a tiny little storage closet. Mm-hmm. Like to actually be a vendor for antiques. And so I think that's a hurdle for a lot of people. Like I would love to do that. It'd be cool, but we don't have a warehouse.
Yeah, it would be, but I would want to, like if I was finding cool stuff, I'd just want to keep it, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So when you go to the antiques fairs and stuff, what are you looking for?
Okay, so originally when we moved, I was looking for like a lot more.
But I mean, like you don't just go and wander around. I feel like you have
I do a little bit, but
you have very specific things, like very specific feel of things you're looking for.
My running list is cast iron, copper, Crocs with lids, art, like old
oil paintings,
framed art, oil paintings and stuff. Yeah,
not like
Courier
too much
and
photography,
Ives, like farmhouse,
right?
Not farmhouse, but like farm scenes.
Yeah. Monets, like original Monets.
When we first moved, I was looking for like chairs and like furniture-y
practical
stuff.
Things, yeah.
But then, and rugs, like wool
antique rugs, yeah,
scatter rugs. But now that we have pretty much what we need, I kind of just look for, like I like to have a collection going, like look for things to add to a collection. I think right now I'm probably going to focus on getting more art, like to do like a gallery wall upstairs in the hallway.
Yeah.
And like along the side of the stairs.
I also feel like I think we're both on the same page of we do not buy knickknacks. We generally buy things that are useful or art or display for like art. Like art is not useful, but it fills a gap in our house at least where we've got blank spaces on the walls.
Yeah.
And it makes it look pretty.
I've been tempted by a Staffordshire dog.
Yeah, I'm not.
They have creepy eyes.
They do have creepy eyes. That's the big hiccup for me is the creepy eyes.
Oh, ball jars, like the old canning jars.
Oh yeah, with the metal snap top lid.
Little flip metal lidded. Yeah.
And they have a little cam on the top.
Because those look cute to put. Like we put dried seeds in them and
chocolate chips,
herbs like dried parsley and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of those, and I'm always looking for more.
Yeah.
And like candlesticks, brass candlesticks. Because you can never have, there's things you can never have enough of. And I think jars, candlesticks, old books, and art.
But the old books, there's a caveat there. We don't just look for old books that are old books. We have to keep in mind that we have children that can read.
Yeah,
and so getting weird books, even old weird books that our kids would be exposed to whatever's in.
Yeah, so I guess we'll look for nice old books.
Old books that we ourselves would read.
pretty plates, like dishes. We have some on our wall as display, and we do eat on the pink china ones that we have.
Yeah, and I guess that leads us to, and I hate to open this can of worms, but the lead issue.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
The lead issue.
We can't talk about it.
Well, we can talk about it a little bit.
We can?
Yeah, because...
You didn't like it when I talked about lead.
Well, the thing about lead that's interesting that I found is that there are definitely people who have used it. The big one for everyone I know is cast iron, right? There are definitely times in the past when people have used cheap cast iron that they had floating around at the time. Wagner was, fairly cheap cast iron, even though it was well made, to just melt lead for various projects that they were using.
That is a concern.
Soldering, things like that. And so when you find, especially for me, when we're looking at cast iron, people want to restore rusty cast iron. And in my mind, I'm thinking the reason it's rusty is because they put it over a tremendous amount of heat and melted lead in it.
Well, cast iron gets rusty very easily,
It does, but the rust can also hide other things. So I steer clear of that stuff. The tricky thing with cast iron that we found, because we did buy lead test kits, the tricky thing with cast iron is when you look up the chemical that they use in the lead test kits, it reacts with ferrous metals like iron and steel to produce the same results that it gives you with lead, which is it turns black. So we were not able on a lead-free pan to get a positive, or we were able,
like the one that we bought new, it was testing positive.
Yeah, it was testing positive for lead, and it doesn't have any lead in it, and so that's the tough part, is unless you...
Is it that certain type of test, though? Because there are different
It is
kinds.
that particular, the swab test.
There are different kinds that you can get.
But the swab test, I think that's a pretty universal one, and I forget what the chemical is, but you have to look it up. It does react with ferrous metals. So we found that it reacted with the cast iron just as much as it reacts with lead. So it's going to give you a false positive on certain things, which means you can't trust that test on cast iron. So, but the lead issue is if you find any shiny metal anywhere on the cast iron, just don't buy it. Yes. It's probably metallic lead. And while metallic lead does not leach easily into human blood through ingestion, it can be dissolved by things like tomatoes and things like that that make them dangerous.
People ask me sometimes, what do you if something might have lead in it, like the Yellowware bowls that I have, what do we put in it? And I use them for fruit that has things that I'm going to peel off, like bananas, room temperature things, and eggs. Now maybe I'm going to get an angry message for this, but
we're going to get angry messages about it anyway.
Whatever. I would not put hot
fruit juice
things in it. I would not put
hot vinegar,
hot soup.
Yeah.
I would not put any type of tomato sauce or anything acidic. There's in it, because that would react.
There's the caveat too, and people will say it reacts with any lead. The danger of lead in glaze is the big hiccup. And I think people mistake glaze on pottery for the colorant on the outside. There are definitely, especially cheaply made South American pottery, where they've used a lead quote-unquote glaze on the outside. And it actually is on top of the physical shiny glaze and it is lead-based, and it's nasty stuff. On Yellowware, and we're going to go into a little chemical lesson here.
Okay.
But
it's a little late for that. My brain's
I know,
down.
But the reason that lead is found in glazes, and it's interesting because they still make lead glazes today. It's not like they've been banned. Lead glazes are used because there's I forget what the actual chemical is. It's a lead salt that's used in the glaze. And what it does is it tremendously lowers the level at which the glaze fully melts and adheres to the ceramic. Mm-hmm. So on lead-free glazes, like what we use in our mugs, they instead use a barium, I think it's barium, frit, which has got a very similar, it doesn't produce the beautiful results that lead does, but it comes pretty close. Lead produces these amazing glazes that are perfect when they're finished and when they're done properly. And the interesting thing is if they're fired at the right temperature, the lead, while part of the glaze, does not leach back out of it. It's essentially glass at that point. the glass has fully encapsulated the lead and it doesn't leach back out. The fear is that whoever made the yellowware, that particular yellowware bowl, was in the wrong place in the kiln, and so the glaze didn't fire completely, and so the lead can leach back out. But in reality, most of the time, even if there were lead glazes on something, they're probably not going to leach in any significant quantity. But the hiccup there is that lead never technically leaves your body once you've ingested it, even though it does it very slowly over time. But it tends
the damage that it causes doesn't, you can't fix
right, you can't undo lead damage once it's been done. And so I see where people are afraid of lead, and there's definitely a healthy fear you should have of certain lead compounds. Metallic lead, I'm not terribly concerned about personally,
but when it boils down to it, I think we're just a little more laid back about.
Yeah, we don't freak out about lead as much as we should.
We know it's a concern, but we're not freaking out about it.
Yeah, anything that's got the tiniest bit of, there's always lead in your water.
There's lead in the air.
There's lead in every. Yeah, the dirt's loaded.
If you're gonna freak out, it's
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's an element, so you can't get rid of it.
Just get too worked up about it, or you'll just never rest.
You'll never do anything.
Anyway, what are we talking about next? Bargaining.
Bargaining, yes. So
it's one of the 5 stages of grief.
Yes, go ahead. Take away your bargaining.
Well, I've never
teaching
had an offer. I've never had someone say no, like flat out, just be like
at a flea market,
refuse to budge. Yeah, or a garage sale or anything. But you can. I think people get scared about this. They expect people at flea markets
to pitch them an offer.
And they put the price tag on it
knowing
that somebody is going to talk them down. And so I'm usually, how I phrase it is like, hi, would you ever consider taking $20 for this if it was like $35
$300?
Would you ever, I just say, would you consider?
Yeah. And we don't have a metric for always go 15% under their asking.
I usually am just what am I willing to pay for this?
Yeah, because it's always worth something different to everybody.
Yeah, so if I want something, but I'm would I want to pay more than this? No. I offer what I'm willing to pay.
Right.
And I always, sometimes they will just say yes. Actually, most of the time, they're like, oh, yeah, sure.
If you bring cute kids with you, it's I'm not saying you want to manipulate people, but...
No. Sometimes they will be like, okay, well, how about 28 or something? They'll meet you halfway.
Yeah. Yeah, but but we don't have any hard and fast bargaining rules for people that want to try and bargain at a flea market. We can't... there's definitely a point at which you're lowballing someone, and I would feel anything less than, say, 60% of its value that they've got marked on it.
You don't want to be rude.
Yeah, if someone's asking $50 for something and you go, I'll give you $23 for it, that's a lowball, and that's gonna lead to a lot more just flat out no's, and it's actually gonna kind of turn the vendor off a little bit to you because they're gonna realize you're just walking around,
right?
Not valuing their property at all,
right?
And so you want to show them, but I feel it's a little bit and if anyone out there's a car dealer, I apologize. It's a little like having to go to the car dealership. I loathe going to deal with car salesmen.
How dare you? My uncle was a car salesman.
John Carr.
John, how did you know?
He invented car salesmanship. No, it's just there's this game that you have to play, and I think there's some rules that for buying a car that apply here. Don't be afraid to walk away. Mm-hmm. If somebody's got a Wagner cast iron pan,
there will be another one.
Yeah, there's always going to be another one. And if someone's got something you really want, never let on that you really want it.
Yeah.
Because they're going to know they got you hooked.
And seriously, there will be another, unless it's this super unique, amazing thing. There will be another one. I found we have that little 3-legged.
The spider pan.
It's this little
tiny one. Yeah.
Yeah, I found one of those. They wanted I don't know, something crazy, $70 for it or something. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, but I'm never gonna even offer them something because I don't want to pay close to that. So I walked around and found another one, and it was $10.
Right.
It was the exact same thing. Like, you will find another.
You'll find another one unless it's a Roman candelabra, and then you probably won't find too many more floating around.
Okay.
But yeah, there's going to be another one. Don't get, because I do the same thing. I get hooked on something, and you're like, I got to go back and look at it. Did it sell? Like, maybe I can afford that. And you really have to not be afraid to just walk away. Because, I mean, especially at flea markets that run for multiple days, if you can come back at the end, and if it really was super high priced, then no one will buy it.
Yeah.
It'll still be there at the end.
If you go there, like if the flea market's Saturday, Sunday, if you go Sunday night, they'll be giving stuff away because they don't want to pack it back up.
Right, especially cast iron, because no one wants to move hundreds of pounds of cast iron back into a trailer.
Yeah.
So there's things that you can definitely do to get a better deal on stuff, and one of them is, sometimes it's just being patient and being patient with bargaining too. Like, if you offer someone something and they come back with a counter offer and you're not feeling the counter offer, at that point, sometimes if you walk away and come back either later or a different day and say, hey, you offered me this, would you do this much? If you don't do it right away, say, someone's got an object you really want, an item you really want, it's $50. And you come in.
Taxidermied bear head.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be a taxidermied Alberta black bear head. Albino Alberta cinnamon phase black bear. I don't know how he'd be.
And it's missing an ear, so it's not like
$50
in super good condition.
You are reading my mind right now. That's exactly what I was thinking. If it's $50, say it's $50, right? Mm-hmm. And you walk in and you say, would you take 35? And the guy goes, no, but I'll take 45. Mm-hmm. If you counteroffer right away, he's going to know you really want it.
Yeah.
And if you walk away and come back 3 hours later and say, look, you offered me 45, I can't do that. Would you take 37? Like, he may realize that he's not the top of your priority list right now, but it's something you would like. Yeah. But you will just walk away again, and he may lose the sale entirely and have to pack that giant one-eared bear back into his trailer and take it back.
Right. But he doesn't want to sell it to you because he's smuggling drugs inside the bear head.
This story is getting more and more realistic the further it goes.
Okay. Sorry. It's getting really late.
So, anyway, back to... You can pull it together. Yeah, so I'm saying that if you play the patience card with your bargaining, if you're gonna be patient with your bargaining,
you'll get your albino bear head.
You'll get your albino drug-laced one-eared bear.
Okay.
You've got all kinds of. Then you'd have a story to tell too.
I will say, last time I went to the flea market, I skipped out on a few good things I saw right when I came in because I didn't want to carry them around all day. I saw them. I was like, that's a good deal. I think it was a set of dishes, and I thought it would be cute to hang them up above that window, like a little dish display. Anyway, I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to pack them up in my thing and roll them around all day. So I was like, I'm going to circle around and come back, and then they were gone.
That's a sad story.
Well, I'm just saying, because you can't always just like...
But you have to be, the thing is, if you really, really want something, and it's amazing, and you're never going to get another one, then...
Don't always pass up on something hoping it'll still be there.
Yeah, if you can afford it. Don't blow all your money on the one thing, because what happens is you'll blow all your money on this one thing you thought was going to be amazing, and then walk 100 yards in the flea market and find the same thing for half the cost somewhere else. So I think honestly, you have to not be afraid to lose things at a flea market. Like you have to not be afraid to walk away from something and lose it, because at the end of the day, like you said, there's, especially with the plates, like there's probably going to be more eventually.
Yeah, but that was a really good deal.
Yeah, I know.
It was like a set of them for like $10.
It's okay. So this is this just bringing up PTSD?
No. Do you want to do history hour? Because not history hour.
Oh, yeah, so history hour in this context, we can talk about the medieval fairs.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Tell us.
So in the Middle Ages, and they probably still do them in Europe, when we were in Belgium, there was a farmers market, flea market thing going on like every Tuesday or whatever it was. It was like
that was
it was like every week they would do this thing, and it was really fun. But in the Middle Ages, they would have these huge fairs. Champagne, France was known. The Franks were known for their huge fairs in Champagne. And people would travel for hundreds of miles to sell their wares or to buy stuff at the fairs.
And that probably took longer back then.
It took weeks and weeks and weeks.
Drive your horse.
You'd have people coming from Eastern Europe to the Champagne fairs to sell their wares. And that's where like a lot of the commerce happened, is at these big fairs. And that's actually where a lot of our banking, I say quote unquote technology, the ability to buy things on credit, and the ability to say pay for something in francs and have it converted into Italian ducats in Italy, so that conversion would happen through the banking system. Like that all came out of the Champagne fair, or the Champagne fairs, not Champlain. Champlain would be a very different story. Mm-hmm. But the Champagne fairs of France. And so I feel like flea markets are like the continuation of the Champagne fairs, except they're smaller and not as, I feel like Champagne fairs were like food and entertainment.
Well, there's food trucks at the flea market.
Food trucks, but not like full on like the food section.
I mean, there's like,
they don't have a suckling roast pig
there's
every day.
There's like barbecue pulled pork on mac and cheese.
Okay, so I guess it's the 21st century version of a pulled pork, or a suckling pig on a spit.
It's the same.
They'd have the entertainment. But there was also a whole other section of the fairs that was merchants only, where you'd have like these huge transactions going on of like, basically, 50 years of working man's salaries worth of cloth being traded from all over the world, essentially. You had silks from China, you had woven wool from Belgium, you had, wine from Burgundy, all being transacted at these fairs. Yeah. And so I kind of would love to see like a resurgence of like the giant fairs that are not so much what our fairs are today in America, at least, that are just like entertainment and entertainment and entertainment. But you've got, it would be cool to see, and we in America you can't go to a Renaissance fair and expect that, because it's not a Renaissance fair, and it's not actually truly like a historical Renaissance fair. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons fair, which, for some people that might be cool. I would love to like actually do like a historical fair. It'd be cool.
I'm sad now that we'll never be able to go to one of those.
A historical fair?
A medieval market.
Why can't we just start one?
Well, we don't have like...
All right, if you're listening and you own a 300-acre cornfield that is fallow every 2 years...
Yeah.
And you want to host the Brook and Bramble Farm Medieval Fair.
Oh, boy.
And donate all the money and all the tables and all the buildings and all the stuff.
And do all the work.
Do all the work. We will show up and we will add the vibe. And that is a promise.
You can't promise a vibe.
I can promise a vibe.
Okay.
Anyway, that's Champagne fairs in a nutshell.
Okay.
They were fantastic, from what I understand.
Yeah. Well, that's been our episode today
on flea markets. If you have any questions, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
If you want to berate us for our view on lead,
if you want to be
feel
mad
free.
At us, please scream into a pillow. We don't want to hear.
Yeah, you can leave it in the comments, but
we already know that
them.
you're concerned, and I totally understand.
But you can put them in the comments. We'll check the box that we looked at it.
I'm not condoning anyone else to buy things they're not comfortable with.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah.
We're comfortable with maybe a lot more.
That's what we're comfortable with, and you might be comfortable with something different, and that's totally understandable.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, see you later. Any parting words?
Have a Brook and Brambly day.
Bye.